You've worked so hard today. The day just flew by, didn't it? Now take a moment to pause and let everything go. Tonight, we'll read Joshua chapters 11 through 15 together. Listen slowly, comfortably. When Jabin king of Hazor heard of this, he sent word to Jobab king of Madon, to the king of Shimron, to the king of Akshaph, and to the northern kings who were in the mountains, in the Arabah south of Kinnereth, in the western foothills, and in Naphoth Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and west, the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites and Jebusites in the hill country, and the Hivites below Hermon in the region of Mizpah. They came out with all their troops and a large number of horses and chariots, a huge army, as numerous as the sand on the seashore. All these kings joined forces and encamped together at the waters of Merom to fight Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, because by this time tomorrow I will hand all of them over to Israel slain. You are to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army came against them suddenly at the waters of Merom and attacked them. And the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel, who defeated them and pursued them all the way to Greater Sidon, to Misrephoth, Maim, and to the valley of Mizpah on the east, until no survivors were left. Joshua did to them as the Lord had directed. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots. At that time Joshua turned back and captured Hazor and put its king to the sword. Hazor had been the head of all these kingdoms. Everyone in it they put to the sword. They totally destroyed them, not sparing anyone who breathed, and he burned Hazor itself. Joshua captured all these royal cities and their kings and put them to the sword. He totally destroyed them, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. Yet Israel did not burn any of the cities built on mounds except Hazor, which Joshua burned. The Israelites carried off for themselves all the plunder and livestock of these cities, but they put every person to the sword until they had destroyed them all. They left no one alive, just as the Lord had commanded his servant Moses. So Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua did it. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. So Joshua took control of the whole land, the hill country, all the Negev, the whole region of Goshen, the western foothills, the Arabah and the mountains of Israel with their foothills, from Mount Halak, which rises toward Seir, to Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and put them to death. Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time, except for the Hivites living in Gibeon. Not one city made a treaty of peace with the Israelites, but they took them all in battle. For it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so that he might destroy them totally, exterminating them without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses. At that time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country from Hebron, Debir and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them and their towns. No Anakites were left in Israelite territory, only in Gaza. Gath and Ashdod did any survive. So Joshua took the entire land, just as the Lord had directed Moses. and he gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to their tribal divisions. Then the land had rest from war. These are the kings of the land whom the Israelites had struck down, and whose territory they took over east of the Jordan, from the Arnon Gorge to Mount Hermon, including all the eastern Arabah. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. He ruled from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, from the middle of the gorge even to the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites, that is, half of Gilead. He also ruled over the eastern Arabah from the Sea of Kinnereth to the Sea of the Arabah, that is, the Dead Sea, and then eastward toward Beth Jeshimoth and south to the foothills of Pisgah. And Og, king of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephates, who reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Salika, all of Bashan to the border of the Geshurites and Maccathites, and half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites had struck them down. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, had given their land as a possession to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. These are the kings of the land that Joshua and the Israelites conquered on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal, Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which rises toward Seir. Joshua gave their lands as an inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to their divisions: the hill country, the western foothills, the Arabah, the mountain slopes, the wilderness, and the Negev, the lands of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, the king of Jericho, the king of Ai near Bethel, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, the king of Gezer, the king of Debir, the king of Geder, the king of Hormah, the king of Arad, the king of Libnah, the king of Adullam, the king of Makkedah, the king of Bethel, the king of Tappuah, the king of Hepher, the king of Aphek, the king of Lasharon, the king of Madon, the king of Hazor, the king of Shimron Meron, the king of Akshaph, the king of Tanakh, the king of Megiddo, the king of Kadesh, the king of Jokneam and Carmel, the king of Dor and Naphoth Dor, the king of Goyim and Gilgal, the king of Tirzah, 31 kings in all. When Joshua was old and well advanced in years, the Lord said to him, "You are very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land that remains all the regions of the Philistines and all those of the Geshurites, from the Shihor River on the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north, which belongs to the Canaanites, the land of the 5 Philistine rulers, the Gazites, Ashdodites, Ashkelonites, Gittites, and Ekronites, and west of these the Avites. From the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Ara of the Sidonians as far as Aphek, the border of the Amorites, the area of Byblos, and all of Lebanon to the east, from Baal Gad below Mount Hermon to Labo Hamath, As for all the inhabitants of the mountain regions from Lebanon to Misrephoth-Maim, that is, all the Sidonians, I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have commanded you. Now apportion this land to the 9 tribes and half of the tribe of Manasseh. The Reubenites, the Gadites, and the other half of the tribe of Manasseh had received their inheritance, east of the Jordan, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had assigned it to them. It extended from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and the whole plateau of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the towns of Sihon king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon out to the border of the Ammonites. Also Gilead, the territory of the Geshurites and Maacathites, all of Mount Hermon and all Bashan as far as Salekah, that is, all the kingdom of Og and Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei and had survived as one of the last of the Rephites. Moses had attacked these and dispossessed them. But the Israelites did not drive out the Geshurites or the Maacathites, so they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the offerings made by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben, clan by clan. The territory from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and the whole plateau around Medeba, with Heshbon and all its towns on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamith-baal, Beth-baal-meon, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiriathaim, Sibmah, Zareth-Shahar on the hill in the valley, Beth-peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth-Jeshimoth, all the towns of the plateau and the entire realm of Sihon king of the Amorites, who ruled at Heshbon. Moses had defeated him and the Midianite chiefs, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba princes, allied with Sihon who lived in that country. The Israelites also put to the sword Balaam son of Beor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These were the towns and villages given to the Reubenites. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad, clan by clan. The territory of Jazer, all the towns of Gilead and half the Ammonite land as far as Aroer near Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramath Mizpah and Betanim, and from Mahanaim to the territory of Debir, and in the valley, Beth-haram, Beth-nimrah, Succoth and Zaphon, the rest of the realm of Sihon king of Heshbon, east of the Jordan, with its border extending to the end of the Sea of Kinnereth. These are the towns and villages given to the Gadites, clan by clan. This is what Moses had given to the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to half the clans of the descendants of Manasseh, the territory extending from Mahanaim through all Bashan, the entire realm of Og king of Bashan, all the settlements of Jair in Bashan, 60 towns, half of Gilead and Ashtaroth and Edrei, towns of Og's kingdom in Bashan, belonged to the descendants of Machir son of Manasseh, that is, to half the clans of Machir. This is the inheritance Moses had given them. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance, since the Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he promised them. These are the areas the Israelites inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel distributed to them. Their inheritance was assigned by lot to the 9.5 tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Moses had divided the inheritance of the 2.5 tribes east of the Jordan, but to the Levites he gave no inheritance among them. For the descendants of Joseph formed 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. The Levites received no share of the land, but only towns to live in, with pasture lands for their flocks and herds. So the Israelites divided the land, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Now the people of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb son of Jephunneh. The Kenizzite said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses the man of God at Kadesh Barnea about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses the servant of the Lord sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. And I brought him back a report that I was convinced was true. My fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. But I followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, 'The land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly.' Now then, just as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive for 45 years since the time." He said this to Moses while Israel moved about in the wilderness. And now here I am today, 85 years old. I am still as strong today as I was the day Moses sent me out. I have as much strength now for war as I had then for going out and coming in. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself heard then that the Anakites were there and their cities were large and fortified. But the Lord helping me, I will drive them out just as he said." Then Joshua blessed Caleb son of Jephunneh and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. So Hebron belongs to Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite to this day, because he followed the Lord, the God of Israel, wholeheartedly. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakites. Then the land had rest from war. The allotment for the tribe of Judah, clan by clan, extended down to the border of Edom, to the desert of Zin in the extreme south. Their southern boundary started from the bay at the southern end of the Dead Sea, crossed south of Scorpion Pass, continued on to Zin, and went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it ran past Hezron up to Adar and curved around to Karka. It then passed along to Asmon and joined the Wadi of Egypt, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. This is their southern boundary. The eastern boundary was the Dead Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern boundary started from the bay at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hogla, and continued north of Beth Arabah to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. The boundary then went up from the valley of Achor to Debir, and turned north to Gilgal, which faces the Adumim Pass south of the gorge. It continued along to the waters of En-Shemesh and came out at En-Rogel. Then it ran up the valley of Ben-Hinnom along the southern slope of the Jebusite city that is Jerusalem, and continued up to the top of the hill west of the Hinnom Valley at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From the hilltop, the boundary went to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah. came out at the towns of Mount Ephron, and went down toward Bala, that is, Kiriath Jearim. Then it curved west from Bala to Mount Seir, ran along the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is, Kesalon, went down to Beth Shemesh and continued through Timnah. It then went to the northern slope of Ekron, turned toward Shikkeron, passed along to Mount Bala, and reached Jabneel. The boundary ended at the sea. The western boundary was the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. These were the boundaries of the people of Judah, clan by clan, in accordance with the Lord's command to Joshua. Caleb son of Jephunneh was given a portion among Judah Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. From Hebron, Caleb drove out the 3 Anakites, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, descendants of Anak. From there, he marched against the people living in Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sefer. And Caleb said, I will give my daughter Aksa in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kiriath Sefer. Othniel son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, took it, so Caleb gave him his daughter Aksa in marriage. One day when she came to Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What do you want? She said to him, Give me a special blessing, since you have given me land in the Negev. Give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Judah, clan by clan. The southernmost towns of the tribe of Judah in the Negev toward the border of Edom were Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kina, Dimona, Adadah, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Beloth, Hazor Hadata, Kerioth Hezron, that is, Hazor, Amam, Shema, Molada, Hazar Gadda, Heshmon, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Biziothia, Balahim, Ezem, Eltolad, Kesil, Horma, Ziklag, Madmana, Sansana, Lebauth, Shillim, Ain, and Rimmon, a total of 29 towns and their villages. In the western foothills, Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, Enganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Soko, Azekah, Sharaim, Adathaim, and Gederah or Gederothaim, 14 towns and their villages. Zenan, Hadashah, Migdal Gad, Dilean, Mizpah, Joktheel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Kabon, Lahmas, Kitlish, Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 towns and their villages. Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, Nezib, Keilah, Akzib, and Maresha, 9 towns and their villages. Ekron, with its surrounding settlements and villages. From Ekron to the sea, all that lay near Ashdod, with its villages. Ashdod, its surrounding settlements and villages. And Gaza, its surrounding settlements and villages, as far as the Wadi of Egypt and the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. In the hill country Shamir, Jatir, Soko, Dana, Kiriath Sana, that is, Debir, Anab, Eshtemo, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 towns and their villages. Arab, Duma, Eshan, Janum, Beth Tapua, Afika, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, and Zior, 9 towns and their villages. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Utah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 towns and their villages. Halhul, Beth Sur, Gedor, Marath, Bethanath, and Eltekon, 6 towns and their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is, Kiriath Jearim and Rabbah, 2 towns and their villages. The Jebusites, who lived in Jerusalem, were not driven out by the people of Judah. To this day, the Jebusites live there with the people of Judah. Tonight we read Joshua chapters 11 through 15 together. After conquering all the land from north to south, Canaan finally rested from war and found peace. And 85-year-old Caleb showed a strong and courageous faith, saying, "Give me this hill country." God's promises are always fulfilled. Sometimes you may have to wait a long time, but if you keep your faith until the end like Caleb, God will give you what He promised. You've done so well today. Rest peacefully now. Sleep well, sweet dreams.
Battles fade into the dust of time. Mountains bow, the wars grow still. The Lord who fought before our eyes now teaches hearts to rest and heal. Every king, every trembling fear fell beneath His faithful hand. Not by strength, not by the sword, but by promise firmly planned. The land unfolds like open arms, each border drawn with grace. He never left, He never turned away. His love remains through every day. From war to peace, from tears to song, God has loved you all along. Fields a sign, a home prepared. Every tribe, a place to stand. Even Caleb's waiting years bloom beneath the Lord's command. From shadowed hills to quiet ground, His love still calls your was gone, you stayed. You held us in your promise still, through broken nights and silent hills. When fear had named our every scar, your love said, "Child, you're mine." The land was drawn by faithful hands. Each waiting year was not in vain. Even now your love remains. No sword, no time, no falling tear can take your love away from here. Forever safe, forever sure, your love endures.
Battles fade into the dust of time. Mountains bow, the wars grow still. The Lord who fought before our eyes now teaches hearts to rest and heal.
Every king, every trembling fear fell beneath his faithful hand. Not by strength, not by the sword, but by promise firmly planned. The land unfolds like open arms, each border drawn with grace. He never left, he never turned away. His love remains through every day. From war to peace, from tears to song, God has loved you all along.
Fields assigned, a home prepared, every tribe a place to stand. Even Caleb's waiting years bloomed beneath the Lord's command.
From shadowed hills to quiet ground, his love still calls your name. Through every fight, through every rest, you are forever deeply blessed. Remember this when nights feel long. God has loved you all along.
I walk the road of endless fight,
Not knowing when the war would end.
I held the words you spoke to me, like quiet light within the dark. When strength
was gone.